Stop! You're making things worse. Discover cutting-edge techniques to strip Paint and Bondo like a pro. To expose what you're up against without doing more damage. It's not as straightforward as you've been led to believe. There's tons to consider. I've spent countless hours of work to uncover the truth so you don't have to.
Woo! Yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for.
As work continues on the back half of the 67, I figured this was the perfect time to take stock of the front clip components. When I tore the car down, I was so focused on the rusted out bottom half that I didn't pay much attention to the condition of the front sheet metal. I knew I had some time, so I simply stored everything out of the way on these back shelves, and nothing has moved since. We both know that Paint and Bondo can mask trouble. So I'm going to strip everything down to bare metal, determine what's salvageable, and what, if anything, should be replaced. With that said, I'm moving forward based on the understanding that aftermarket front-end components should be avoided, when and if possible, regardless of supplier. It's well understood that the fit just isn't there like it is on aftermarket rear components. That's not to say you can't make Taiwan's finest work. You can, but it'll be a lot more involved. Nothing will fit better up front than your factory sheet metal. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that the majority of this pans out in my favor and I'll be able to save a few bucks. Given the state my Camaro is in, what do you think the odds are of that? When it comes to restoring your classic car, everyone has different quality standards in mind. Some are okay getting her done to get their car back on the road quickly or generate content, while others devote time and resources and set their sights much higher. And rightly so, it's all good. Your standards, along with your restoration goals, budget, and abilities will help inform how best you proceed. You can chase a ton of different ways to strip your car bare, but don't kid yourself, they all suck. Time and money. So how do you know what to use and where? Stick around. Actually, this strip club, but more on that later. As much as the chemical dip process appeals to me, the bottom half of my 67 was so rotten there was no point. Some send their cars out for professional media blasting to free themselves from the laborious task of hand stripping and are happy with the results. Listen, I'm not going to do them a disservice or dispute their results with a blanket caution against doing so. Everyone's goals are different. You gotta do you. Just know that the process is in essence shot peening the metal. Not a real issue on heavier gauge or well-supported components, but it's definitely an issue on large, unsupported, thin body panels like fenders, quarter panels, hoods, door and roof skins. Just know that all media blasting will stretch and deform those surfaces to varying degrees. Feel free to argue that point in the comments, but the truth is out there, if you're willing to do the research. So if old habits die hard, or blocking Bondo is your jam, have at her. But for me, I'll be utilizing different techniques on those body panels, and I recommend that you do the same. That's not to say there isn't a place for media blasting. I use my blast cabinet all the time. In the right application, blasting is efficient at getting into tight and pitted areas and is excellent at removing rust. You may have seen and are tempted by this budget-friendly Amazon attachment for your pressure washer. I was. The hope is that it'll speed up the stripping process while keeping dust down and the neighbors happy. I'm giving it a go on the rad support because there's minimal risk of any deformation. I'm using pool filter sand because it's coarse, won't clump up like play sand, and it was cheap. $5 for a 50-pound bag at my local big box store. Does it work? Yeah, it worked pretty well. Happy? Nah. I put it in the same category as a spot blaster. I even rigged mine up to be gravity fed like a spot blaster. So I took siphoning issues completely out of the picture. Personally, I'd never blast any enclosed assembly, like rocker panels for example. Because you can't be certain that you've cleared out all the blasting material. The last thing you need is anything that's going to hold moisture in and around a welded metal seam. But that's me. For the most part, chemical strippers aren't what they used to be with the removal of methylene chloride. Lots of content online comparing all the different brands currently out there, most with questionable or inconsistent results. But if you find a good one that works, it provides a dustless process that won't remove base metal material and won't warp your panels. I came across Cooper's Strip Club online.
Are you looking for a stripper?
It's from the land down under, and it looked promising. Almost too promising. But despite my skepticism, I figured I'd give it a go. It's sold as a complete kit, with the stripper, a flush cleaner, spray bottles, and even coarse steel wool. Not the cheapest alternative out there, but I hoped it would deliver on value. No surface prep required. You simply spray it on and keep it wet for about 15 minutes. Okay, real time lapse. Go. I'm blown away by how fast it begins to work. You can see it starts digging into the paint almost on contact. While we wait, I'll roll the sharp corners of a paint scraper so I don't gouge the metal. At the 3.5 minute mark, I test the surface and I can already easily scrape off the first few layers of paint. I continue the process and spray it down again. And wait another 5 minutes or so. Spray, scrape, scrub, flush, and wipe. That took less than 25 minutes. Finally a product that works as advertised. Now I'll finish up the entire fender to see what hidden treasures await me. There's about 3 to 4 layers of paint on these things. And Bondo is pretty thick in some spots. It's so thick, in fact, that it makes better sense to switch to a 3M bristle disc. Does it work? Yeah, obviously. Did it meet expectations? Actually exceeded them. And there's no noxious fumes either. And the slop you scrape off dries quickly and you can sweep it up easily. And most importantly, there's no impact to the base metal. The only con is the price. They sell a variety of stripping packs. I bought Pack A for $248. You get 2 liters plus a liter free of the strippers and a liter of the flusher with all the accessories. You can also purchase both stripper and flusher refills separately. Nice that shipping is included. No video on stripping paint like a pro would be complete without addressing mechanical stripping processes with abrasives. I've tried many and have my favorites. A dual action sander or DA is a must. Strip-it discs work well, as do these bristle and Scotch-Brite discs for tighter areas. Even a wire wheel has its place. But when you want to strip a panel fast, size does matter. You gotta break out the big dog, or in this case, the hog. Instead of buying another tool, I sourced an 8-inch sanding pad for my trusty 9-inch grinder, and I'm using 3M 36 grit hook and loop paper. This method requires a little more finesse because it will generate heat and remove base material if you linger in one spot too long with too much pressure. So you gotta be careful and move around. Albeit, it's a pretty dusty process. So how did everything shake out? Let's start with the rad support. Water blasting worked well, especially here around the chewed up mount brackets. This area would have made a mess of other abrasives. Clearly, rust has compromised the reinforced areas here and here. Most would replace with a repop core, but I see an opportunity. I'll repair it, and in the process, I'll get rid of all this stock nonsense and reinforce it and flush finish it, like the shaved firewall. And custom fit a new rad and heat exchanger to maximize performance. Wheel tubs. I was going to blast these, but they're pretty rough, and depending on my wheel and tire setup up front, I may need to modify these anyway, or I may go in a different direction altogether. This is what the fenders looked like before. This is the better of the two. Looking really good. Little surface rust. The fender lip is in good shape, but lo and behold, look, a covered up marker light. It's a little thick in terms of a patch. Didn't realize I had a 68 fender on here. So no wonder it's in a little better shape than the other, because it's been replaced. Here on the other, the driver's side, little decay around the headlight bezel, surface rust. You can see here also indication of some damage that will be covered with Bondo. Fender well lip needs a little attention, some patchwork, and of course this inner structure needs to be replaced. So it begs the question, do I take off all the inner structure, treat it properly, and reassemble it, or just the impacted areas? I'll be honest, I was fearing much worse. That's a win. This one was the worst of the two. I still have the driver's side to strip, but I'm confident with some patchwork, I can get these looking as good as new. The header panel and the lower valence cleaned up beautifully. The lower valence is a bit pitted, but nothing too extreme. Bit of a wow here to hammer and dolly. And on the header panel, there's a bit of a dent there, but for the most part, bright, shiny metal. No issue. Hey, thanks for watching till the end, and we'll see you soon. Cheers.